Before we get any further, this video contains spoilers for the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. If you haven't seen them yet, we highly recommend you head on over to Disney Plus and watch them before continuing with the video. If you're all caught up or just don't care, let's dive right in. It's a joyous day in the Star Wars community when we finally get a sequel we've been waiting for almost a decade. With the launch of Ahsoka, we get to follow along as she and the Ghost crew begin looking for Thrawn and their lost long friend, Ezra Bridger. We're incredibly excited to pick up where Star Wars Rebels left off and see how and if they tie the legendary Thrawn trilogy into this series. Thrawn is, after all, perhaps the most universally beloved villain in the entire franchise. Things have already kicked off to a great start, but before diving Montrals first into the action, we feel a bit of a recap might be in order. Rebels' first episode aired over 5.5 years ago, not to mention that it was a series not as universally received as Thrawn. In today's video, we'll be turning back time and looking at the steps that brought us to these first moments in Ahsoka. So get ready and step through the world between worlds with us as we take a trip down memory lane.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Before jumping into the plot of Rebels, it's important to remember the characters that made Rebels happen. If you haven't seen the show, some of them might be complete no-names. First, obviously, we have Ahsoka Tano, who needs little introduction. Former Padawan to Anakin Skywalker, she left the Jedi Order during the Clone Wars after realizing how morally bankrupt the Jedi Council was. Nevertheless, she dedicated her life to protecting those that needed help. After Order 66, she went into hiding for a time before she rejoined the fray, becoming a member of the Rebel Alliance known as Fulcrum. Then, we have the crew of the Ghost, a rebel cell that operated during the Galactic Civil War. Their captain was Hera Syndulla, ace pilot and daughter of Cham Syndulla, Ryloth Rebellion leader. Captain Syndulla left Ryloth at a young age and joined the Rebel Alliance, eventually being promoted to the rank of General once all Rebel cells joined the main body. With her travels her faithful droid companion, C-1-10P, known as Chopper, a war criminal with the highest known kill count in the entire show. Jacen Syndulla is Captain Syndulla's son, as you might expect, born around 0 BBY. He is the son of Hera and Jedi Knight Kanan Jarrus. Next, we have Sabine Wren, a Mandalorian from Clan Wren who was once an outcast for betraying her people when, in truth, she'd only been trying to protect them. Sabine joined the Ghost crew and fought alongside them against the tyranny of the Empire, whom she hated for enslaving her people. Similarly, Ezra Bridger was a Lothal citizen who spent his childhood fighting against the Empire in small ways until he eventually joined up with the Ghost crew, was discovered as Force sensitive, and was taken on as a Padawan by Kanan. And finally, we have Thrawn. Grand Admiral in the Imperial Army, Thrawn was a tactical genius renowned for his ability to read his opponents and anticipate their plans. Amongst other things, he was tasked with bringing the Alliance down, which he pursued heavily. But with our heroes introduced, let's get into the story of how this ragtag group of heroes ended up where they are today. The first season of Rebels takes place in 4 BBY and follows the stories of Hera, Kanan, Sabine, Ezra and Zeb as they go around Lothal and the galaxy, being a general thorn in the Empire's side. At this stage, the Ghost crew are still operating solo, or so it seems. In a later episode, Hera reveals that the missions they undertake aren't random. She's in communication with the Rebel Alliance, receiving intelligence from a credible source known as Fulcrum. At the end of the first season, it's revealed that Fulcrum is none other than Ahsoka Tano, who had been helping Senator Bail Organa form the Alliance. The joy of seeing her is short-lived, as this brief victory is followed by the siege of Lothal. Faced with the rebelling citizens on the planet, Darth Sidious sent Darth Vader to quench the rebellion. The siege results in an Imperial victory, and our heroes retreat undefeated. For Ahsoka, however, the wound is deeper. She's just been given a reason to believe that Darth Vader is none other than Anakin Skywalker, her former master, whom she thought dead. In turn, Vader has learnt his former Padawan is still alive. Ahsoka struggles with this revelation until she, Ezra, and Kanan travel to a forgotten Jedi temple, and the Force guides her into accepting the cruel reality. Throughout the season, Ahsoka helps the crew, even assisting in Ezra's training. However, it all comes to a climax at the end of Season 2. Those who have seen Rebels know how heart-wrenching Twilight of the Apprentice is. During it, Ezra, Kanan, and Ahsoka travel to Malachor to an old Sith temple. There, they're confronted by the 8th brother who is hunting someone called the Old Master. While Ahsoka and Kanan deal with him, Ezra meets the so-called Master. It's none other than Darth Maul himself, who promises to help him enter the temple and find the knowledge he seeks. However, other Inquisitors arrive, and soon after them, Darth Vader makes planetfall on Malachor. What follows is a knife to the gut for most viewers. Ahsoka and Vader, trapped in a duel she prevents Ezra from joining. When she finally sees her old master, Ahsoka tries one last time to save him, but when she fails, she does what a Jedi must do. She remains in the collapsing temple, engaging Vader in an effort to take him out with her. In the end, however, the temple collapses, she is killed, and Vader escapes alive, leaving the crumbling ruins and his Padawan's dead body behind him. Over the next 1.5 seasons, the Ghost crew remains busy. They travel all over the galaxy from Geonosis to Tatooine. They join up with the Greater Alliance movement on Yavin and run missions for them. One of those takes them back to Lothal, where an improved TIE Defender program threatens to produce nigh unbeatable TIEs the Rebellion could never contend with. After Ezra and the Ghost crew gather information on the program, Captain Syndulla leads an aerial assault of Rebel starfighters to take out the TIE factory. Unfortunately, they're unsuccessful, and Syndulla is captured. Eventually she's saved, but at the cost of Kanan Jarrus, who sacrifices himself to take out the fuel depot, destroy the TIE program, and save his found family. This is where the world between worlds comes in. Still on Lothal, Ezra and the others are trying to build up the local resistance. That's how they came across a carved rock bearing the image of the Mortis gods. Once Ezra solves the puzzle, he's brought into a place outside the space-time continuum where he's able to pull Ahsoka out of the temple from Season 2 and save her before she would have died on Malachor. The two are attacked by Palpatine, but manage to escape. Upon leaving the portal, Ahsoka finds herself in the ruined temple on Malachor, alive, though no one but Ezra knows it. Meanwhile, the Ghost crew orchestrates the liberation of Lothal. With Thrawn en route to the planet from Coruscant, they have precious little time. They manage to seize the capital, but their victory is short-lived. When Thrawn arrives, he demands their surrender. When that isn't forthcoming, he begins a brutal bombardment of the city. Lothal's shields hold for a time, but there's no doubt Thrawn will break through and kill everyone on the planet. Instead of letting that happen, Ezra chooses to surrender and travels to Thrawn's flagship. And that's when it happens. Ezra's plan all along had been to summon the Purgils, a species of force-sensitive whales that live in hyperspace. The Ghost crew had met them years ago, and now Ezra had used a set of frequency to summon them. The school of Purgils arrive out of nowhere and cause chaos in the Imperial fleet. Ezra and Thrawn fight, but it's too late, as the flagship is gripped by a Purgil and dragged into hyperspace. That was the last anyone saw of Ezra Bridger and Grand Admiral Thrawn. With the Imperial fleet in ruins, Lothal is liberated. Over the next few years, the Ghost crew continue fighting alongside the Alliance. They were present at the Battle of Endor and continued serving the New Republic after the Rebels won, but none of them ever truly forgot Ezra. So when Ahsoka returns from the dead with rumors of where he might be, they jump at the chance to reunite with their lost friend, bringing us to the beginning of Ahsoka. Now that we're all caught up, we can focus on what really matters, the action. Stay tuned for the next video in our series on Ahsoka that should be out within the next few days. But until then, did you manage to find the mistake in the brief letterdown intro at the start of the first episode? Let us know in the comment section below and what you thought of the first 2 episodes. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.